In Japan, 28% of the population is over the age of 65. And healthcare costs continue to rise. So much so that the medical cost per capita in Japan is 4 times as much for the older generation. In an environment where we just can't build more hospitals and hire more healthcare workers, technology can play a role in addressing this increasingly challenging problem. Well, today I'm in Tokyo, Japan, and I'm speaking to Shinya Yamamoto. He's a startup mentor, clinical research innovation professor, and futurist, helping startups address the biggest issues in Japan society, including healthcare. And in this episode, we talk about the healthcare opportunities and challenges in Japan. We learn how emerging technologies can address these issues, and some advice for entrepreneurs and startups wanting to enter the Japanese market. Collaboration starts with a conversation. Team HealthTech. Let's make it happen.
Welcome to Talking HealthTech, featuring content and community about technology and healthcare. We acknowledge the traditional owners of lands these conversations were recorded and pay respect to elders past and present.
Shinya, thanks so much for joining.
Thank you. Thanks so much for reaching out to me.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, and you've brought me into your office here in Tokyo, in Japan, and it's definitely the first interview we've done in Tokyo, in Japan. So I'm honored to be here to have a conversation with you on the Talking HealthTech podcast. Can you first introduce yourself? Tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for visiting my incubation, Cube Tokyo. So my self-introduction, my actually academic background is a chemistry and molecular biology for master. But I received the PhD degree in technology and innovation management. So I do actually a lot of activities currently, but I do work as a professor at the 2 medical school and also at the 2 business school in Tokyo. So I have my class for MBA, class for students like leadership or entrepreneurship and also global management. But also I do research for clinical research and also innovation management or science for innovation policy to closely working with the government, central government, and also local government as well. How we can create a new technology startup company or science-driven tech company. And then I have been working for the biopharmaceutical industry more than 20 years, especially for the clinical trial or clinical research related operation. So my activities are originally focusing on the healthcare industry, especially for the technology or science startup company. But currently it's expanding to the other area or field. And then I created my own private incubation here in Shibuya, Yoyogi. And then you are here now. And then trying to create a small project with, my community member. Those projects has been, more than 60 projects since I started this incubation about less than two years period. Currently, we have already registered 10 companies in Tokyo here. So those companies' revenue are very much positive currently. So my activity, I can say as a keyword, probably governmental activity, and also central and local, and also industry, especially for the startup.
Yeah.
And also academic research, especially for innovation management or clinical research. And then my dream or challenge is creating such startup ecosystem from here, how to create the impactful, technology startup company from such small incubation rather than big organization or, big incubation.
I'm interested too on that, especially as you've got such vast experience across healthcare in the biopharmaceutical space. And, you mentioned 60 projects through 10 organizations coming through the incubator here.
Yeah.
And you emphasize this point about doing it through a small incubator and these startups coming through. Why do you see that as important that it comes from somewhere small as opposed to being the large organization?
Yes. Okay. This is actually good question. So in my academic research field, we call innovators dilemma at the big organization. Maybe you know this theory from San Francisco, but this one is not only at the company. Everywhere, like a governmental organization, hospital, or incubation as well. In our current era, the lots of data and technology are like ready, but this is not labor-intensive model, right? So big organization is no more very much critical at this point. But from the perspective of innovators dilemma, as small as possible organization, of course, enables to manage quickly and then make a decision, of course, quickly.
Yes.
And then we can move forward and then flexibly, and then we can start from the very, very small project.
Yes.
Not related to always revenue or profit. Yeah. We don't need to think about that, right? It's like as a hobby, as a craft, right? As a community. So this is definitely related to a Web3 or a DAO, decentralized autonomous organization project in near future. So I do believe such small incubation will be, I think, very much effective in all, I think, industries.
Yeah, I like that. I like the fact that, around this point that the smaller organizations can be more nimble and potentially it's not, there's no competitive advantage in being so large. If anything, that might mean that the innovation perhaps could be slower. I'd love to dig a little bit deeper to understand more about the Japanese ecosystem, particularly in relation to healthcare. What are some of these big problems that need to be solved within the healthcare industry in Japan?
So the healthcare industry, of course, there are many types of, company or business, but the main business is, as you know, the biopharmaceutical industry, especially for the pharma, so the drug. This industry is the biggest, actually. Right. And then our pharmaceutical industry is really traditional because we have many pharmaceutical companies, but all traditional one. Like their history are more than 50 years old or 80 years, something like that. But very less technology startup company, like pharmaceutical or medical device or biotech like this. So this is totally different from, for example, US or China mainland, Singapore, Australia. So very much stable, but no new challenge or new startup company has been created. The reason why we have a huge social insurance system for medication.
Okay.
So we don't need to pay 100% to the hospital anytime. The government will pay on behalf of us, like 70% or sometimes 80% more than 65, 70 years old, something like this. In that case, such big social insurance system has been helping this industry. So no need to challenge, no need to make an innovation, no need to make big competition with US pharma or other countries' pharma.
Because there's always a guarantee.
Always guaranteed by government.
Yeah.
So this is also another dilemma for the innovation, actually. But this is for as a patient or maybe people of this country. This is actually advantage, right? But for the perspective of innovation, this is like a dilemma or, how to say, disadvantage actually for the people or company.
Well, I could imagine that we're in a situation as I understand anyway, in Japan, where, the aging population is becoming so significant that with that also brings additional costs. So that current system then that, those over a particular age get all the social security, that's something that, all the payments through healthcare, that's a system that's getting bigger and bigger and more expensive. So it's really time to innovate to try and either drive down some of those costs or deliver care in a different way.
That's true, I think.
What are some of those technologies then that you think that will assist in driving innovation in the healthcare industry?
This is not only in Japan, but also our industry, especially for the pharma or medical device, especially for the clinical research or trial industry, very much labor intensive, operation, as you know. So we need, more digitalization or digitization, power to digital transformation, of course. But currently, artificial intelligence, like large language model, and then data platform from patient directly throughout such wearable device, IoT or sensor, and also like a SaaS platform to optimize our labor-intensive operation as a decentralized clinical trial. This is a new, big trend from US, but this is kind of like a Uber or maybe Amazon. We have still wet and then, dry operation or workflow, but both is very much important. But most important things is how we can optimize those complicated operation, like logistics or, human operation, like a surgery, or maybe patient visit from their home to, hospital. So maybe this is a new challenge, but also most valuable future in our industry. And then Japan has just started such discussion, including a government, industry, and also academia. So I think from this year, such discussion will be, very much, attractive.
I was going to say, do you feel like, the current climate of, government or big institutions are really interested in engaging with startups in Japan? Is that that's the direction that we're going?
Yes. So this is actually one of my research topic at the university as an innovation management. For example, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, when I was like student, the government had never, been interested in such, startup business because they thought startup business is inefficient compared to big company. Because if a big company couldn't do this, startup of course cannot, something like it. But currently, like since 5 years ago, maybe less than 10 years ago, our central government and the local government as well, they are keen to create a startup company for their economy, maybe better environment for social, infrastructure, and also maybe job opportunity for people, and then also like a career path for the students, and also like a researcher, like a PhD holder, medical doctor as well. So I can say that currently Japanese local government is really, central government as well, really keen to, support such technology startup company. Then especially for healthcare, very much important for them.
So it's a good time to be an entrepreneur or an innovator in Japan if you're interested in solving some of those healthcare problems. What about if you're a organization from outside of Japan, perhaps those startups in Australia or the US or anywhere in the world that perhaps have an existing solution? You mentioned opportunities with artificial intelligence, large language models and wearables and, all the clinical trial space. there's organizations looking to solve these problems around the world. What advice or recommendations do you have for those that are looking to enter, say, the market in Japan or other parts?
Yes. So this is actually not only for the healthcare industry, but I can strongly say currently, like since 5 years ago, maybe same less than 10 years ago, many entrepreneurs or investors from outside of Japan have been coming to Tokyo or Osaka, like Japan, to start their startup company or business from here or with their country. So the reason why, of course, governmental support has been, getting bigger, but also this is huge opportunity because Japanese market is still big, right, in the world. But no one couldn't develop for the global market, actually. For example, started from Tokyo or Japan, the healthcare-related technology startup company, they are, of course, keen to achieve a IPO, for example. But always they think about the in Tokyo first market or growth market. Never think about the Singapore or Hong Kong or Nasdaq, blah, blah, blah. And then they always see the customer within Japan, not trying to get outside as a Japan-oriented startup company to get the global market. But of course, I have been closely working with many technology startup companies in globally, right? Australia as well, Singapore as well, China mainland as well, Taiwan, Hong Kong, any other company like from Vietnam or Thailand as well. And we want from the scratch, of course, make a strategy to how to get the global market, not within their own nation, right? Of course, this is the reason why other countries' market is smaller than here, but China mainland is not, right? So this is like our mindset. Maybe same topic to the social insurance system. It's like a big advantage, brought by government.
Yes.
And then we always work with only Japanese company or Japanese people, right? Then I started my own business here, bridging product or service from outside of Japan to Japan market. Because there has been no such agent or people who can bridge between Japan market and the others.
Yes.
So in that case, of course, entrepreneurs from US, Australia, Singapore, China mainland, if they can be here in Tokyo or Osaka, this is big chance. Even they don't speak Japanese, they can bridge from US or Singapore or Australia, right? So such big trend had just started since 5 years ago or some years ago.
That's really exciting, and it's cool that I'm able to speak to you because you're doing that right now, bringing those organizations from outside of Japan and helping them through that process. Because if you were to do that cold, I can't see how that would be successful. So having that partner locally makes a lot of sense, and that resonates quite deeply with me in terms of in Australia we often talk about, if you're an Australian health tech organization, you've got to be building with global in mind. Even though if you're solving problems for an Australian market, then where's that opportunity outside of that? So lastly, then, if there are those looking to then enter the market in Japan, you mentioned you've got quite a diverse portfolio of healthcare organizations that you work with. What kind of companies or the problems that they're solving are you really hoping to speak to, or are you excited about, in the coming 6, 12, 24? Who should be reaching out to you to learn?
Okay. This is actually a good question. And then I always open my door to talk with anyone as an innovator from anywhere. But especially for healthcare industry, we really need a technology like artificial intelligence or data platform, SaaS, wearable device, IoT, sensor, right? So if someone who has such technology, I really would like to discuss together. But not only technology, for example, some new approach as an operation or service model, or maybe data platformer from, for example, Australia. Even Australian patient data is really important for, Japan or other countries, right? So, and also hospital, like my organization. So collaboration or partnership with a local hospital would be also very much valuable. So big company as well. If big organization is difficult to make innovation quickly, it's okay. They can collaborate with small organization like startup or incubation, right? So we can also talk to such, I think, a traditional or big company as well. Anyway, who are interested in Japan market, please, reach out to maybe Peter or myself. And then we can talk about the new collaboration model between Australia and Japan, or including other countries. Yeah.
That sounds exciting. We'll put the details for you, Shinya, in the show notes of this episode so people can reach out and continue that conversation. I really appreciate you making the time to have a chat with me here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Peter.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Talking Health Tech. Make sure you like and subscribe and share this episode with someone who might find it valuable. For more information and resources about healthcare innovation, visit talkinghealthtech.com.